Hey everybody, let's get into chapter 2. Remember, this is a really important chapter, obviously, with the demographic transition model. So again, the review for this is also in chapter 2 module in Canvas. If you want to follow along with that, remember there'll be review questions at the end of it. Key issue 1 was where is the world's people distributed? We talked about this quite a bit. We obviously know where most of them are, but the key to remember is where most of the growth is still occurring, and that obviously is in Asia, LDCs, where they still have large NIRs, large CBRs, and so forth. Overpopulation is obviously more people than the Earth can handle. Obviously, some people believe we're in that stage already. Again, there's that map again where half of the people live inside that circle, 50% of the population, basically in India, China, Indonesia, and so forth. Quick reminder, what type of map is this? Does anybody remember? It's a cartogram. Remember, cartograms distort the size based off of what you're measuring. It could be population, it could be Super Bowl championships, where we would be the biggest. But since China has the most population, they've now become the biggest country. India becomes the second biggest. United States becomes third biggest. And that's why Canada gets so small, so does Russia. Remember, Canada's only got about 37 million people or so. Density we'll get into here shortly, but obviously you can see the same patterns in India, China. Europe looks concentrated, but remember, Europe's a very small continent, so the population is not that much bigger than the entire United States, but they're concentrated in a much smaller area, and that's why you're seeing a lot of red for the density, which we'll get to in a minute. Arithmetic density, remember, that is the total population divided by the land area. Again, population divided by land area. That's it. It's the simplest of the three. The population density is, in the United States, 86 people per square mile, which is relatively wide open compared to the Maldives, Singapore. If you're looking for wide open spaces, obviously move to West Texas. Again, here's a reminder of what a square mile is. Here's Park City, obviously. It's not that very big. So imagine if you were in Singapore and you had 18,000 people in that square where we are basically right now. These are the trickier ones. Physiological density. Again, you're taking the same number of people, your population for your country, but now you're dividing it by arable land that you can farm on. So obviously Death Valley is not arable land, so that now this land size of your country is technically shrinking because you're only using land you can farm on. So that's why our number goes up. So we're still taking to 330 million people, but now we're dividing it by a smaller land area, and now we have to feed 199 people with that square mile of arable farmland. Egypt, on the other hand, has a bad physiological density. They have to feed 3,000 people from that square mile. That's not doable. So obviously this relationship shows that high density means there's little arable land. Egypt falls into that category. 199 is pretty good. It's not great, but fortunately we're rich and we have technology and we can afford to pull that off. Probably want to be a little bit less than that. Agricultural density is similar to that. It's a ratio of number of farmers to the amount of arable land. So now we're taking the number of farmers. We're not using a population number anymore. We're using the number of farmers in that country, and then still using that arable land statistic. Again, this is a number you want to have low. It implies you have technology, you have farm equipment, you have irrigation, you have herbicides, you have pesticides. So as that map shows on there, India, China, Africa, they have high agricultural densities, meaning they have more farmers for fewer amount of land. We can have one farmer work on 3,000 acres because we have the density. Remember, this is a good sign because that farmer, we don't need as many farmers, and now they're getting into more tertiary type jobs, which in the long run is better for your economy. Let's end it right there.